Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, December 4th, just a bit past 2 p.m. My name is StockDarts, and in today's video we're going to take a look at and explore some trades in the gold sphere and looking at some gold names. Now, for those of you that regularly attend my Wednesday webinars, you know that last week we discussed the possibility of GLD and gold in particular, gold-related names, starting to get a little bit of momentum and traction to the upside. The US dollar had sort of printed a little bit of a reversal. Now, the last 2 or 3 days it has stabilized, but overall this is starting to look like maybe we're starting to get some overhead resistance on the US dollar, and we don't necessarily expect a crash or for the US dollar to really correct strongly, but just a retracement back into some of this range that you can see it's had an incredible climb since basically April. So for most of the second half of 2018 and even beyond that, the US dollar has been rallying pretty strongly. And of course, inversely correlated to that, gold and other commodities in general have had a poor time throughout 2018 and have had a pretty strong decline. However, if the US dollar can sort of stall out here and sort of retrace some of that move that it's had, well then maybe gold can gain some traction and start reclimbing and regaining some of this area that it lost throughout the year, right? And that's what it looks like the case right now. You can see that we have been able to successfully break out its descending channel and get back above this kind of key level around 115 on GLD. And overall, this is looking pretty positive. So I think that this idea of playing gold to the long side could play out well in December, particularly in the next couple of weeks. Now, that being said, we have already moved up pretty strongly on GLD, so there's a chance that this stalls out, and we may have to wait a little bit longer for some of these names to totally resolve. But sometimes gold miners sort of lag a little bit behind and start to move a little bit after GLD, so we could be still getting some nice moves. For those of you that are members of my Tier 1 subscription on patreon.com/StockDarts, and I'll have the link below in the description as well, we had a nice trade on Newmont that we posted yesterday that's working out pretty well for us today. You can see that we're up and above and beyond our recent highs, which was one of our profit objectives on this trade. I know it's pretty close, but the idea was to make sure we lock in a profitable trade and then work on trying to get to our secondary targets, which are still a few points away. And this one's working out really well for us, and is one of the names that I kind of like in the gold sphere or in the gold sector. There are plenty of other miners that are looking pretty good, and that's sort of the idea of today's video, is to go ahead and see how we can explore and look for some other trades in this area. Now, one of the objectives I have when I want to go ahead and try to trade an idea like this is to not necessarily trade 5, 6, 7 names at a time. What I want to do is find 1 or 2 that match my trading style, match the criteria that I'm looking for, and trade those, right? And once we start scaling out of that and taking profits and closing out those trades, then we can go ahead and backtrack and take a look at other names that are maybe lagging behind or broke out at the same time and have sort of come back and consolidated and are retesting and confirming the previous breakout and setting up for a continued run. So basically we want to be in and out, but we want to go ahead and take advantage of this area as long as it looks like it's finally starting to bottom out and move towards the upside. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move over to FinViz. And what we're going to do is screen, right? So we're going to go to the screener. And then we're going to go to the industry. And we're just going to scroll down till we find gold. Now, the only other thing I want to do is screen for volume. I'm not going to be too picky about this, but I want to at least take out the really illiquid names, right? So we're going to pick a small baseline of 200,000 average volume, and that leaves us with 34 names, right? So next we go over here to the charts tab, and here we go. You've got a nice list of names. Now, you'll see there's a little bit here for everyone, right? You've got some names that are trading at value areas and at support. You got some names that are consolidating, and you have some names that are breaking out and trading at highs or close to highs, right? So you scroll through here and you find the names that you particularly like and the ones that you think match whatever chart patterns you're comfortable trading or whatever style of trading makes sense to you, right? So you can see here's Newmont, which is one of the ones we traded, and is the one I just pointed out. But there's a few other ones here that look pretty nice. So what I'm going to do here is jump back and forth and give you an idea of some of the ones that I've already picked out that I like. Right. So the first one is for those of you guys that like trading strength and momentum to the upside. Well, we've got AU, and AU is doing really well here. You can see it's got a nice breakout today above a pretty nice little consolidation range with this ascending triangle, and looks like it has room for another point and a half of upside. Right, we can make a case for a trade up to 1150, 11, somewhere in the mid 11s to high 11s, right, all the way up to 1180 and possibly 12. And that's without even looking or holding for a move to new highs. Now, will it get to highs? Maybe, maybe not. I think a lot depends on just how strong gold behaves and whether the U.S. dollar really starts to struggle or not. I'm not sure that that's really the case right now. After all, gold has been in a steady decline for most of the year, and this is positive and nice, but I wouldn't get too carried away, as I said before, with these trades. But I think that there is possibility for further upside, so I want to go ahead and get involved. But I will be taking, as I mentioned with Newmont, I will be quick to take profits to make sure that I lock in profitable trades and then just trail a portion of the trade, looking for a little bit more of a greedy target, a little bit higher. But overall, I want to make sure that I don't let these things fall right back in and go back to neutral. Because again, we're trading an area that's been beaten up throughout the year, so we don't want to get too overly aggressive with our targets, at least on our primary targets, right? Once we scale out and lock in profits, then we can be a little bit more greedy and look for longer trades and look for higher targets. But for now, at the very least, I'd be looking for 11 to 11.25 or so as a primary target. And then from there, if you can get a move back to highs, that'd be great. Another one we can look at is Rand Gold. And you can see this one hasn't broken out yet, so this is not ready to trade yet, but is setting up for trade. So this could be along the lines of that maybe this breaks out as I'm closing out one of my previous trades, maybe on Newmont. And what we're looking for here again is there's two ways of playing this. Of course, you can just play it based off of breaking the descending trend line, or if you're a more cautious trader, you could wait for this horizontal level, which is somewhere around $83 to $84, and wait for a break of that. And again, depending on what you decide is the ultimate level, it could even be all the way up to 85. And then you could just wait for that. And again, it gives you an idea of the kind of trade you could be looking for. Now, you can see nice base here, a cup and handle forming, with the handle trying to form here just around 82 to 83. So, long term, this looks like it's ready to start making its way up, but it hasn't really done so yet, but looks decent. We can also look at Royal Gold, and you can see Royal Gold, a little bit of a different one. A little bit closer to lows, a little bit more value play, but peaking out above a pretty strong descending trend line that has held it in check for the last month and a half. And we have some overhead resistance at 79, but from here this actually looks okay now. It has moved up strongly in the last 3 or 4 days, so it might take a few more days to really gain traction. But as long as it doesn't sort of give back this breakout and fall back below about 74.50, 74.40, then it has a nice 4 to 5 points of upside from where it's at right now. Another one we can look at is KGC. This one's very similar as well to RGLD in that it's sort of already moved up pretty strongly. So I wasn't that excited. Like yesterday, I was looking at this one as one of the ones that I might want to take, but I wasn't that excited about it because of how much it had already rallied to begin with just to get to this level. But once it sort of stabilizes and sort of confirms this breakout above 275, it's got a nice upside of another quarter or so to get to 3, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's pretty decent on a $2.75, $2.60 name. And if it continues upwards, well, then we can just watch for the $3 breakout and see what kind of consolidation range develops on there. So this is one that I have on my watch list. I'm not in the process of trading it. I think that there were probably better opportunities to trade it earlier, but at this point I'm just putting it on my watch list as something that I want to see develop as I see some of these other trades work in my favor. Of course, there are plenty of other names on here. As I mentioned, there's a lot of stuff on here. Other names that are close to highs, other names that are completing breakouts as we speak. So I encourage you guys to go in here and look around and see if you find a name or two that you like. Now again, you don't have to go crazy. Matter of fact, if you don't even like individual names, you could even just stick to GLD, or you could just go to GDX, which is the gold miner ETF, or you can go to GDXJ and look at the junior gold miners. and look for a trade in this area, right? And maybe just play these if you'd rather not have exposure to an individual name. But I think that there's potential for upside in these names in the next couple of weeks, so it'd be a good idea to build a watch list now and take advantage of some of this upward momentum, particularly if we see the U.S. dollar sort of fade a bit. And this could be an area that we look to trade if stocks continue to struggle. Then maybe we can take advantage of it and trade in a sort of a different area. Now, obviously, these are still stocks, but sometimes gold names move a little bit differently to what the general market is doing. So, hope that helps. If you guys enjoy this video and want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button. It really helps me gain traction on YouTube and get a good idea of what kind of videos I need to be sort of churning out in the future. And once again, I encourage you as well, if you like this sort of content, to visit me on patreon.com, as I put stuff on there almost every day, definitely at least 3-4 times a week, and some of it is paid, but a lot of it is free. And so you're missing out if you're not finding some of those extra ideas out there, right? Other than that, have a good rest of today, and we will see each other again in the next video.